38-year-old Rodney Hinton Jr. is behind bars and is accused of intentionally killing a deputy after his son was fatally shot by a police officer. Authorities said that around 1 p.m. on Friday the 2nd of May, Rodney intentionally struck a deputy with his vehicle. Hamilton County Deputy 61-year-old Larry Henderson was directing traffic at the University of Cincinnati graduation at the intersection of Martin Luther King Drive and Burnett Woods Drive when he was run over. He was rushed to the University of Cincinnati Medical Center in a critical condition, where he later died. Immediately after the incident, Rodney was arrested. At around 9:30 a.m. on Thursday the 1st of May, officers responded to an apartment complex in East Hill as part of a stolen car investigation, when Rodney's son, 18-year-old Ryan Hinton, was seen running with a gun. An officer chased and shot him and claimed that Ryan pointed a weapon at him. Blurry police body cam footage captured an officer saying, "He's got a gun. He's got a gun," before several shots were fired at Ryan, striking him twice and killing him. A gun was found at the scene, but there's no indication that he fired at police before he was shot. Rodney is charged with aggravated murder, and he remains held at the Hamilton County Jail without bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A former detention deputy in Bexar County, Texas, has been charged with murder after an inmate was found dead. On Friday the 2nd of May, jailer 20-year-old Clemente Lopez was arrested for allowing 3 inmates to access another inmate's cell, which resulted in the assault and death of the inmate. During the early morning hours of Wednesday the 30th of April, 46-year-old Francisca Bazan was viciously assaulted after a group of inmates instructed Clemente to open the door to Francisco's cell. When Clemente opened the cell, he told the inmates to make it bad. The 3 inmates were then seen by Clemente kicking Francisco in the face and smashing his head against the concrete. Authorities said that Clemente was observing the entire assault from outside the jail cell. Other deputies found Francisco in his cell unresponsive. The medical staff's attempts to save him were unsuccessful, and he was pronounced dead at 3:14 a.m. that morning. An autopsy showed that Francisco died from internal bleeding due to the blunt force injuries to the torso, and his death was ruled a homicide. An inmate told investigators that the dispute was due to Francisco failing to pay money he owed his cellmate. Authorities described the attack on Francisco as a coordinated effort between his cellmate and 2 other inmates. Clemente, who's been employed at the detention center since the 7th of August 2023, admitted to these types of assaults in the past. Following Clemente's arrest, he has since been released on a $500,000 bond. Authorities said that Francisco's death inside the jail is the 4th for the year. Francisco was booked into jail on the 28th of March on charges of evading arrest, detention in a motor vehicle, and possession of a controlled substance. A former Kavuna High School basketball coach and special education teacher has been arrested after an investigation into a video circulating online. On the morning of Friday the 2nd of May, 37-year-old Terrence Miles submitted his resignation during a meeting where Superintendent Amanda Abel had planned to terminate his employment. The resignation comes after a video was leaked to social media showing 2 students whipping another student with a belt while he lay on the ground. Terrence handled the belt at one point and was seen laughing during the incident. In his resignation letter, Terrence said there was an incident that occurred a few days ago that was intended solely and totally as horseplay. Unfortunately, I became a participant in the incident, momentarily forgetting that I was the adult in the room, responsible for overseeing the students instead of playing with them. Later that day, Terrence was arrested on charges of first-degree criminal abuse, second-degree wanton endangerment, and first-degree official misconduct. Terrence was booked into the Hart County Jail without bond. Amanda said that both students involved in the incident have been disciplined in accordance with school policy. 52-year-old Anthony Esposito was accused of beating his 12-year-old son to death with a baseball bat and attempting to kill his 16-year-old daughter. At around 4 p.m. on Thursday the 1st of May, authorities responded to a condo along Hemlock Road in Brantford, Connecticut after a woman called 911 to report that Anthony had killed someone in his home. As police made their way to the scene, they learned that Anthony had left the condo and was driving his silver Chrysler Pacifica. Authorities entered the unit and found Anthony's 12-year-old son on the ground of the basement with head trauma, and he was pronounced dead at 4:10 p.m. Connecticut State Police troopers located Anthony along State Route 79 near the town line near Durham and Madison. They performed a traffic stop and he was taken to the North Brantford Police Department for questioning. Initially, Anthony asked to speak to a North Haven police officer named Jimmy, and only spoke with investigators after being told he would not be allowed to speak to Jimmy. Anthony then told investigators that his son treated him disrespectfully and would swear at him. He also told police that he often heard voices in his head, those of his mother and father, who he claimed abused him as a child. He said that the voices told him, "Don't let him get away with it" that day. He said he heard the voices saying baseball bat. He then picked up the bat and began swinging it, hitting his son in the back of the head. Anthony told investigators that he needed to pick up his 16-year-old daughter from a bus stop, and that the two had an uneventful ride home. When they arrived home, his daughter asked about her brother, and Anthony told her that he was in the basement. As they walked toward the staircase, he then purposefully pushed his daughter, causing her to fall near where his son's body was. Anthony explained to investigators that if he had been able to get the baseball bat, he likely would have killed his daughter, but she escaped the basement. At that point, he got in his car and left. Anthony was arrested and charged with murder and attempted murder. He remains held at the New Haven County Jail on a $3 million bond. If found guilty of the charges, Anthony faces the possibility of life in prison. 22-year-old Charles Willis is behind bars for abusing a young teen girl he persuaded online to go to his home. At around 5:30 a.m. on Sunday the 27th of April, a 14-year-old girl was found wandering in the area of 7 Mile and Sheldon Roads in Northfield Township, Michigan. Police said that Charles contacted the teen via Snapchat. He then ordered and paid for the girl's 2-hour Uber ride to his house from where she lives in Barry County. The teen told police that Charles told her to stay in the basement where he allegedly committed sex crimes against her. Northfield Township Police Department executed a search warrant at Charles's home and arrested him on charges of kidnapping, enticing a girl under 16 for immoral purposes, child sexually abusive activity, and first-degree criminal sexual conduct. Charles remains held at the Wayne County Jail with bond set at $1 million. Charles's criminal record shows a prior accusation of third-degree criminal sexual conduct or statutory rape from an incident at the end of January 2025, for which he is still facing charges. The investigation into the matter continues. A 20-year-old man is behind bars in connection to a deadly shooting at an apartment complex. At 3:38 a.m. on Saturday the 3rd of May, authorities responded to the Windsor Arms Apartments at 417 Macomb Avenue in Port Gibson, Mississippi on reports of shots fired. When officers arrived at the scene, they found 22-year-old Larry Mosley Jr. suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Despite immediate medical attention, he was pronounced dead at the scene. During the investigation, police identified 20-year-old Donnie Edwards as a suspect. Donnie was arrested and remains held at the Claiborne County Jail on a murder charge. The shooting remains under investigation. A man is behind bars following a shooting that left 2 people dead and a dog injured. At just after 8:30 a.m. on Friday the 2nd of May, 35-year-old Ross Jovin Smith broke into a home at 194 Carball Lane in Moss Hill, North Carolina, and fatally shot his estranged wife, 33-year-old Latoya Marie Smith, and 24-year-old Calvin Kennion. A dog was also wounded in the shooting but survived. After the shooting, Ross fled the scene in a black Chrysler sedan. The vehicle was identified with the assistance of the Kinston Police Department. The North County deputies located the vehicle in the 1400 block of Stroud Avenue in Kinston, but Ross was not inside. At around 11:30 a.m., deputies took Ross into custody without incident near the State Roads 903 and 11 intersection in Pitt County. He was on foot when he was arrested. Ross is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, felony breaking and entering, and felony cruelty to animals. He remains held at the Lenoir County Jail without bond. The investigation into the matter continues. A 21-year-old man is behind bars for fatally shooting his 20-year-old girlfriend. At around 1:30 a.m. on Sunday the 4th of May, police patrolling the area responded to the 2000 block of South Mirror Street in Amarillo, Texas, after hearing gunshots and receiving multiple 911 calls. When officers arrived, they found multiple shell casings in the street. Witnesses at the scene informed officers that the gunshot victim had already been taken to a local hospital by private vehicle. The victim, 20-year-old Ariana Nicole Estrada, was later pronounced dead from multiple gunshot wounds. Through witness statements and evidence, homicide detectives identified Ariana's boyfriend, 21-year-old David Allen Crowder, as a suspect. He was arrested without incident and charged with murder, and remains held at the Potter County Jail. The motive of the killing is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. A woman is behind bars for stabbing a newborn child to death while in the middle of giving birth to him. At around 8:20 p.m. on the 7th of March 2025, authorities responded to an apartment in the 100 block of Nations Way in Easley, South Carolina for a medical call of a woman in distress. When officers arrived on scene, they quickly realized this was something much more. Officers found evidence that the homeowner, 31-year-old Antohny, had recently given birth to a baby boy. Police reportedly found the deceased body of the newborn in a trash bag along with the umbilical cord. Authorities said that Anne stabbed the baby with a metal letter opener as she was giving birth to him, and continued stabbing after he was born. Authorities said that Anne confessed to the stabbing and showed extreme indifference to human life. Easley Police Chief Brandon Liner said, "I've been doing this for 2.5 decades, and I've never seen anything this gruesome, and I've never seen anything this bad. We'll make sure that this baby will receive justice. It just didn't have a chance at life. Not long. It's our job to make sure that this baby does receive that," he said. Anne was arrested and charged with homicide by child abuse. She appeared before a judge on Tuesday the 11th of March after receiving treatment at a hospital. She was then booked into the Pickens County Jail without bond until her next court hearing due on the 15th of May. If convicted, Anne faces between 20 years to life in prison. The motive of the killing is unclear, as the investigation into the matter continues. A Georgia woman is accused of abusing a toddler by putting a dog leash around his neck and forcing him to smoke marijuana. The Habersham County Sheriff's Office started investigating 24-year-old Brooke Bestpitch last year when they discovered that the abuse happened at a home in Hall County. They reached out to the Hall County Sheriff's Office in December. Authorities said that Brooke gave a toddler a marijuana joint and forced him to smoke it. She was arrested and charged with reckless conduct on the 6th of February. She was released from the Hall County Jail the following day after posting a $1,300 bond. The Hall County Sheriff's Office continued its investigation and obtained a search warrant for Brooke's cell phones and Snapchat account. Investigators found photo and video evidence of the toddler hog-tied with belts and yarn. They also found a video of the boy with a dog leash around his neck, which was allegedly being pulled by Brooke, constricting the boy's neck. On Friday the 11th of April, authorities arrested Brooke again and charged her with first-degree child cruelty. She was released from the Hall County Jail the following day after posting an $11,200 bond. The investigation into the matter continues.